With reboots and remakes dropping every other week, it was refreshing to at least see one trying to attempt something different. That doesn't mean it's good. It's the 1988 Child's Play versus the 2019 remake on Movie Feuds. Both versions of the story follow the Barclay family, and I have no idea why. The characters aren't remotely similar. The new version of Andy, played by Gabriel Bateman, seems like he was a tad older than the original too. He swears, mopes around a lot, and felt a little too old to be interested in a talking doll. That's right, I'm doll shaming. Alex Vincent seemed a lot more age appropriate. Certainly more believable as a child oblivious to the warning signs that his doll may be a homicidal murderer. I'm an Aubrey Plaza fan, so her playing Alex's mother was a nice casting choice. Her character unfortunately wavers between cool hot mom to a pretty bad parent with poor choices in men. And her boyfriend's only character trait is opening a fridge and grabbing a brewski. Catherine Hicks doesn't really provide anything special in the first outing, but at least she's not telling her kid to go outside in the middle of the night, in a new sketchy neighborhood, to hang out with some kids he doesn't know, in the rain, unsupervised. Call me a helicopter parent, but I think that's just a bad idea. The new film adds in a bunch of new characters that mostly make me scratch my head. The cop and his mother were welcome additions, but unfortunately their characters don't have a satisfying arc. And for a cop, may I point out that Detective Mike Norris is also impressively clueless when he has some pretty clear-cut evidence planted at his feet. At one point, playing a dinner host to a boy who brought over a head-wrapped gift that's only an arm's length away from them. A lot of these characters have some pretty piss-poor perception. In the new film Chucky, who I will talk more about in a second, smashes through the glass of a cabinet he was barricaded in. He then completes his first murder right in the living room. Somehow Andy is able to dispose of the body, clean up the blood-soaked wooden floors, and hope that his mother's none the wiser about the glass broken everywhere. Thankfully for Andy, she's an idiot and doesn't notice anything. Did you know it's really hard to get blood out of wood? He also has some friends that have dumb nicknames who tag along on his misadventures with Chucky. They do fun things like pull pranks on the terrible boyfriend, watch Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 out of order, and teach Chucky to swear. And therein lies the biggest problem of our Chucky in 2019. This is learned behavior that he needs to be kind of tricked into doing. Mark Hamill voices the little buddy, and honestly, he was the only draw I had to go see this, as I'm not even a huge fan of the original Child's Play. I know. Calm down. Which is really a shame because Mark Hamill is a terrific voice actor. Even if he never played Luke Skywalker, he would have crafted a name for himself as just the Joker alone. It's too bad he didn't get to showcase the sinister, brilliant performance that he's known for. And that's more the fault of the story and not so much Hamill's performance. 1988's Child's Play doesn't have a single protagonist or human character that I care even 1 ounce about. No, that movie's success and charm hinges entirely on Chucky. Brad Dourif isn't restricted by an AI doll that's learning as it goes. This Chucky is unleashed from the onset, as he was originally a terrible human being named Charles Lee Ray. A dude who is, to put it lightly, a total dickhead, who will kill without hesitation, often with a crass one-liner attached. The look of the original doll is a lot more believable too, as he has the appearance of those semi-creepy dolls from the late 80s. And this is relatable as there was plenty of source material to pull from at that time. Kids were scooping up these things off the shelves like crazy. I myself had one of those creepy Teddy Ruxpins. I'm young. The 2019 one is a tad tone deaf all around. I have no idea what item on the market this is even supposed to be replicating or springboarding from, nor do I understand what kind of demographic this would even appeal to. And I'll jump more into that in round 2. Coming your way right now. People, let me tell you about 88's Child's Play follows that 80s, 90s slasher playbook to a T. The mantra, keep it simple, stupid, is in full effect. As a last-ditch effort, a serial killer on the cusp of being thwarted speaks a voodoo incantation which transfers his soul into that of a children's doll. This doll goes on a murder spree in an attempt to get back to his teacher and reclaim a human form once again. Silly, it's corny as hell, and it kind of works. I mean, it worked enough to make like 8 more of these things, so. There is something oddly satisfying about watching this kid's toy spew out vulgar language and knife unsuspecting passerbys. By today's standards, the kills are somewhat quaint, and often a bit on the lame side. The initial death by window push still looks pretty awesome. It is a very long walk for 2019's Chucky to get in a bad place. In this version, Chucky is just an AI doll who has had his protocol overwritten by, and get this, toggling between a good and bad switch. I mean, pretty much. It's a dude on a computer who is in the assembly line process and just is typing a couple things, moving a couple things. It's super easy. Barely an inconvenience. That's not mine. Sorry, that's not mine. All I'm thinking is, why is this even a feature? Let alone one that they have some guy off the streets doing. And this doesn't even make Chucky fully evil. It just takes off the filters and makes his eyes go red on occasion. I'm not really sure what that's all about. The personality never really gets to the level of the original because once more, there is no soul attached to this machine. That seems like an appropriate metaphor for Hollywood films in general. When this good boy gone bad does get his stab on, it can get pretty gruesome. There are 2 deaths that provide plenty of blood and a bit of sick satisfaction if that's your thing. For the most part, I felt kind of bad for the doll rather than scared or mad. And since this is a robot, it has some pretty impressive Wi-Fi/Bluetooth capabilities. Puzzling how good they are. It can just connect to whatever is convenient and often overrides features on a whim. The last 20 minutes is nuts, and it left me wondering if this film would have worked better as a full-blown dark comedy. The same song and dance crops up time and time again when we do these old versus new Movie Feuds episodes. It's practical effects versus CG. So it may come as a surprise to some that the new film uses a heavy amount of animatronics, sculpting, and the same concepts the 80s one did. When Child's Play came out originally, it wasn't the acting or the music that drove people nuts. It was the incredible talent off-screen that was praised. The team behind Our Ginger Killer went above and beyond. Multiple versions of the puppet were crafted, along with sometimes 5 or 6 people controlling different parts of Chucky at once. Moving eyes, lips, hands, potentially a penis we never get to see, etc. They would even hire an actor who would play Chucky for some scenes that required running, and they would scale the rooms up to make him look smaller. There is no denying that the 2019 team was once again just as passionate about the project, and it looks slick and polished like you would expect from a 2019 film. The design of the character isn't my favorite, but he always feels like he's present in the scene and not added during post. And that's because for the most part, he is. The CG is only applied as a layer over already built models. The E.T. finger was an interesting choice, one I probably wouldn't have gone with, but whatever. And I will refrain about talking about the bear buddy later in the picture, outside of questioning what child on earth would want that hellish nightmare as a toy. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up while I'm ahead. It's a 2019 Child's Play pun. I asked the Movie Feuds audience in a poll, as one does, which they thought was the better film. They responded. 2019's Chucky may have more bells and whistles, but it lacks the personality and, by extension, the votes. The audience gave it 15%. 1988 still remains the Ginger King with a solid 85. And yes, I think for most this was an obvious winner before the video even started, but it's still fun to talk about movies. Can we just use this as a platform and less about the winner? Just conversation piece? I think so. I think we can. Alright, thank you for watching. And remember, this is more than just reviews. This is Movie Feuds. Alright, it's been fun, but I've got to go. I've got a date with a 6-year-old boy. Jesus Christ, why? Why the did you put that on here? Yeah, I know it's a quote from Child's Play, but that's what we're ending with?